Welcome everyone to our second virtual pre-departure session for today. Today we're going to have a presentation on transition to online study. I've got our lovely Jane here, who is the director from Student Retention and Success, and she's going to be talking to you all about current situation with transition to online study and a whole lot of other things. So it's great to see everyone joining in. Please feel free to pop in any questions you have in the chat box, and we have a team here who will be moderating behind the scenes. We will have an open Q&A session towards the end of the session as well for about 10-15 minutes max, and we will answer some of your questions live as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Jane, and you can go.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mona, and welcome everybody. It's really wonderful to have you join the session and really looking forward to sharing with you about studying online at the University of Tasmania, particularly if that's something you haven't done before. And we know in our current world environment, you might be looking at starting online and then coming on campus. So thanks so much. Great to share with you today. Thanks, Mona. So I wanted to, I guess, start by saying that here at the university, we actually have over half of our students who do study fully online. And we have done online learning for quite a long time and are well known in the sector for our online learning. And we use a lot of a range of online platforms and tools to make sure that we provide a really high quality online experience for students. Students who are even with us on campus use our online environments. And as I said, a lot of our students study fully online. This year, and I guess no matter where you are in the world, we're thinking of you. And we've spent a lot of time during the first half of 2020 to invest in the needs of our students. We've had to transfer all of our on-campus to online for everybody. So we've sort of overlaid our existing online learning with a whole new and like a really significant upgraded approach with our tools, with our resources, and with our support. So if you're living outside of Australia, you're absolutely able to start online with us, even if you don't have your visa yet. So you can see here, I've put a bit of a screenshot just of our online learning environment. It's just a homepage of actually our UniStart International program. And if you were at our session this morning with our orientation coordinator, she probably talked to you about orientation and UniStart. And all of our international students who start with us actually get free access to our program, which is wonderful. So Milo is what we call our digital platform to start our studies, and it's available to all students 24/7. You can keep up with your study at your own pace, and all the resources for your learning are actually in our online learning environment. Includes web conferencing, which again is sort of almost the backbone of our study, where our teachers interact directly with students. They explain the concepts and the learning in detail, and this is where they actually clearly lay out the tasks for you, all the learning activities and the assessments for both individual and group work, and all the resources are in one place. So it's a bit like your library if you'd like to kind of think about it like that. It's got the curriculum, the materials, the students will can talk to each other on the discussion boards. Our teachers post all the announcements each week around what you need to know. And it's also the place where you upload assessment tasks, and you can actually go back and listen to recordings. Yeah, it's really, if you haven't been in a learning management system before, it's really nicely designed to have everything there for you in one place. Thanks so much, Mona. So what I wanted to do today is, I guess, step through for you the approach that we take to online learning. And we use this nice acronym called FACES, and I guess in the background that's really wanting to let you know that just because you're not here with us, we really care about you as individuals. So we really want to make the learning experience suit students personally and ensure that it is flexible. You can access it anytime, anywhere. So if you're in another time zone, all your materials will be in our learning management system for you. Many of our students might not be just studying, they might have family life, you know, doing other things like working. So we have both synchronous, which means real time. Sometimes you'll have classes in real time that you access online, but also a whole lot of learning materials that you can access at your own time. It's also really accessible and, you know, is really designed to make sure that we're supporting diverse students. Again, highly connected to the community, engaging in terms of being interactive, and thought-provoking, and is well supported. And I'm going to talk about these 5 things in more detail for you. Thanks, Mona. So when we talk about being flexible, as I said, really thinking about, especially if you're starting online, being able to engage with the learning materials each week at times that suit you. Some people love to study early in the morning, some people love to study late at night. And so whilst you might have some timetabled classes, you'll always be able to go back and review materials and also access recordings at times that suit you. Also, our technology is very accessible through mobile devices, so both through computers as well as mobile devices, you can access our learning management system. The real-time activities that we offer are really dynamic, and so it's really important in an online learning environment, just as it might be if you're studying face-to-face, that students and staff can actually engage and learn together. And these are recorded, as I sort of mentioned before, and you can go back and review those so that no student misses out. If you couldn't perhaps be at a particular lecture at a particular time, those lectures would be recorded and available for you. Again, other activities throughout the semester are then rolled out through your learning management system, such as the discussion forums, and that really gives you time to go back and consolidate, to review, and to take the time to study and you know, and learn and have your questions answered. Thanks so much, Mona. So when we think about our online learning environment being accessible, it's absolutely available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, so that you can keep up at your own pace. This also includes web conferencing. So we have systems, and you might come across the name like Collaborate, which is one of our web conferencing systems, or Zoom. So we do offer synchronous opportunities for students to interact with each other and their teachers, and really that's where the teachers are explaining concepts to you in detail. They're being very clear with you about the types of tasks and assessments to undertake, and again, really enabling you to interact and meet other students in your classes. So you might not be with them, but you actually get to actually share and learn with other people that are studying what you will be looking to study. Again, all the resources are in one place, so it's just great that you can go in and find your curriculum materials, the teacher announcements, due dates for assessments, any recordings that are shared, and have that be easily available for you. Thanks, Mona. So the other thing is thinking about connections. It's really, you know, sometimes people can feel that online learning can be quite isolating. And if it's something that you haven't done before and you're imagining that you'll be, you know, at home studying, how to really have that, maintain motivation, to ensure that you're feeling like you're part of a learning community. So we put a lot of effort into building that dynamic learning community with our students. The teaching staff that support our students are very conscious that for students studying online, particularly at the moment, if you were doing a course, say, that ordinarily would be on our campuses, and you can't start straight away on our campuses at the moment, and you might say do 6 months online and then come and join us. We've learnt a lot in the first half of this year, and really enabled students to connect online so that they're not left behind, and that the learning is all available and up to date, and students can absolutely finish their units of study online and then come and continue on campus if that works for your course. So that's been a really important focus, that that you still absolutely, like all students, can connect with your peers, you can work on projects together, and you're really supported by the teaching staff. And they're always ready there to help you through other means as well, on the phone, through email, or through our conferencing applications. Thanks, Mona. In terms of being engaging, in an online learning environment, a lot of the effort that the teachers put in is ensuring that the materials that they're sharing with you, no matter what course you're doing, that might be you know, a Masters of Accounting, or it might be in information technology, they always set up discussion forums and webinars that encourage you to interact with each other and to learn together and to be able to engage with that material, so that there are seamless conversations between the teachers and the students. You can have live video and voice, but also very much use written chat. So if you're a learner that, if you're in a group context, you'd much rather write your questions in the chat, just like we are today, that is enabled for you in our online tutorial type environments, so that you might prefer to ask them in using voice or chat, and also at times you might be asked to share a document or share a piece of work, and you on the screen to get feedback from the teacher. Sometimes if it's group work, the group might share those documents as well. So all of those facilities and ways of helping you work together are built into the teaching environment. One of the other things about our courses in particular, and how we build that into online learning, is as much as possible connecting students with real life contexts. So it might be, depending on your course of study, ensuring that the examples and the learning activities are connected with industries relevant to your fields of interest and to the course. And this is really important because really ensuring that students maintain that motivation, and we really want to build your future capabilities as a graduate, so that you could go off into the workforce, into those areas. So and again, when we're on campus, we would at times bring industry into the classroom, and while we can't do that, we make sure that there are similar ways that we can bring those real life contexts to you, and even have sometimes in some of our courses have industry in the online environment, so that it's really connected to your field of study. Thanks, Mona. And perhaps last but not least, I really wanted you to know that the whole university is really, the University of Tasmania in particular, are really, I guess, putting a lot of focus through our whole staffing, not just in the curriculum, but our support staff, to make sure that we offer you a welcoming and safe environment, whether you're actually online or on campus. And we have a full range of support staff, which is the team that I look after, where we have advising staff to help you progress with your studies. We have staff that support mental and spiritual health of our students. And we also have 24/7 learning support. So if you're working on assignments or you're looking at your study materials and you're a bit unsure about something, you can actually access trained experts who both can give feedback on your assignments, as well as can chat with you live about particular concepts that you might be working on. And Studiosity, which is a highly qualified and high quality 24/7 learning support service, they work with our own learning advisors and librarians who can support you with expert in-depth advice, particularly in the fields of English language, if English is not your first language, as well as the full range of academic skills that will help you progress your studies. We've also got our IT service desk, because we're very conscious that our online students also require sometimes technical support, and we make sure that that's open for you from Monday to Sunday, so that if you're needing that technical support in particularly the tools that I've talked about, our learning management system, it might be that you're using Zoom or Collaborate, and if you need advice with those, we've got staff that can help with that. So we've also got a whole lot of other staff around career advising, as well as our counselling team. We have staff that also support students with health conditions to make sure that study is equitable for you and that we can support you through your studies. Thanks, Mona.
That
So
was
look, that's
really,
probably,
really good.
oh, thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Jane.
you.
Yeah, go on, go on.
Yeah, just wanting to, I guess, thank everyone for listening, and I'm really happy to answer questions. But I also, when you're thinking about, when you're thinking about your decisions, absolutely think for you. If you wish to start second semester, or if you're looking to start next year, that it's absolutely okay to commence online before you come on campus, if that's something that you feel comfortable and really interested to do. And we just want you to know there's a lot of support wrapped around that to make sure that you can be as successful as you would like to be or are able to be. Thanks, Mona.
Thanks, Jane. And I think it was a really good session just to reassure students that it is okay to start online and then come here when it's safe to do so, and when borders officially are lifted and students can start coming in safely. So it was a really, really good presentation. I do have a couple of questions that have come through. I know you touched a little bit on this, but a student was asking, because the time zones are different, will there be any live classes that students would need to adjust to Australian timings at all?
That's a great question, Mona, and it probably is course by course. I know that some of our courses have been really thoughtful about if their students are overseas, they're offering looking at the time zones and making sure sometimes they might have like an evening live class that works for an overseas time zone. But certainly every subject teacher for a subject that you were doing would make sure they were communicating with you about that and working through, say if there were, a time didn't work for you, they would make sure, say for example, they recorded your session. In most classes there are choices of tutorials, so you'd be able to pick the time that best worked for you.
That's great. And another student was asking that she understands that some subjects are practical. Is it possible to do some of the practicals online and not in the lab?
Yeah, great question. So it's a little bit of both at the moment. So the sciences, so you might be thinking of the sciences, for example, where laboratories are kind of core to students' learning. They've been able to transfer some of that learning to online, and other aspects they're working with students to look at, say, the part of your course that might happen when you can arrive after the borders are opened up. So really looking at flexible ways of, say, offering, it might be there are some intensives down the track where there's a couple of weeks where those laboratory skills are developed a bit later in the course that ordinarily might have been earlier. So we're finding a bit of a mix at the moment, making sure that things that can be translated to online, a lot of effort's being put in to do that. But perhaps where we need to build some of those skills later, looking at the course and making sure you're not disadvantaged, and building those in down the track when people are able to arrive.
And it raises that point you talked about, flexibility. I mean, the University of Tasmania is always trying to be flexible with students, especially during this time. So I think that's really important because
Absolutely.
we get so many questions from students about the prac. So as Jane said, it really comes down to what you're studying, and some components might be online, some might not, and we would wait until it's safe and restrictions are lifted in order for students to complete that. So we would never disadvantage students, so it will always be worked one way or another. I've actually got another question, which is a really good one, actually. Students asking if new students commencing online studies, would they have their virtual attendance taken at all?
Oh, that's a really good question. Look, again, I don't know if the answer would be the same for each course. So predominantly attendance isn't a requirement in most courses where the sessions are, say, recorded and you can watch them at any time. But some of our courses, so if I give you an example, say you were going to study in our fine arts field or in our design field, some of the studios and practice-based areas are, you know, are compulsory to come along to, or for example, it might be that it's always understood if someone's unwell, for example. So it's, you know, it might be, for example, that it's okay to miss 3, but you need to kind of keep in touch and with your unit coordinator if there was a reason that you couldn't come along. So predominantly things are available and recorded to you for you to access, but in some disciplines your participation is part of what is assessed, and the teacher would let you know if that was the case, and you would be able to work that through with them. Does that answer the question, Mona?
Yeah, I think so. And I'll just add another comment on that. I guess students, international students, just have to um, treat it almost the same as you would be on campus. So, you know,
Absolutely.
pretending that you're on campus, but, you know, just saying pretty much if you were on campus, you would still continue to attend your sessions, you would still continue to participate in tutorials. So I wouldn't treat it any different to being virtual or having online courses now. I mean, it's not going to go on forever, it's just temporarily. So students have
Absolutely.
that opportunity to start and then, you know, move on to campus. So when it's
Yeah.
safe. So yeah, my suggestion on top of that would be definitely don't treat it any different. So that was a really,
I
really
think
good
that's
question.
yeah, and I think the point that you raise is you know, study actually requires it does require kind of input, and yeah, and your engagement, I guess, if you'd like to say, with, you know, with the weekly kind of materials. So not, you know, not leaving things for a few weeks and falling behind. So absolutely, I think I really like that advice, Mona, is think about it as if you were here, that you would
Mm.
be coming along to the lecture each week, you would be participating in, because everything that you do to you know, to engage and also to sort of study after, you know, to study in between those classes, to connect with, you know, other things that are on offer, that all makes it, you know, easier for you in many ways, and helps you get through.
And I've got another question. So I'm just reading through it. So got a student in terms of, I'll just shorten the question. How would the examinations take place in an online environment? So we do have usually students asking, you know,
Yeah.
how is it going to happen? How am I going to attend my exams? Is it all face to face? I guess if you could give maybe a couple of pointers on that one, Jane, that would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, so look, this at the moment we're in the middle of exams actually for our students that started at the beginning of the year. And so for the first time that we absolutely have not run face-to-face exams to make sure that people have been safe and that we look after people's safety at the moment. And what our teachers have done is both looked at alternative ways to assess that learning. So it might be like an additional end of semester assignment instead of an exam. But we've also run online exams. So we have both online exams that are what we call invigilated, which means they do have a particular time where they start and finish. Students have their webcams on, and it's like you're sitting in the face-to-face exam, but you're not in a room with a whole lot of other people. And again, we do a lot of sessions where students can practice that beforehand, so it doesn't feel new. But it's just like almost joining an online class and just sitting there and you know, and doing your exam. But we haven't had a lot. I think you know, to give you an example, many more of our units actually created alternative assessments, so that if there was an accreditation requirement, for example, in a course where there was an online exam, that's gone ahead. But there's also many alternative assessments. So once you start studying, and as we get to the exam period, we offer a range of webinars that you can join about getting ready for exams, how to manage you know, how to manage exams, but also looking at your broader assignments.
And that's a good point. And another comment I'd add on to that is that you know, some disciplines, I when I was an international student, as part of my degree, I did business, and depending on your disciplines, you know, you can have take-home exams as well. So they're kind of like a different form of, I guess they're not really online, but you know, it doesn't require any online attendance for an exam. So, and you know, take-home exams have been happening even prior to COVID. So, you know, so it really depends on the discipline, but majority of the time would be exactly like how Jane described. It would be some sort of online attendance where you would, you know, participate and have your exam completed online. So that was really, really good. I'm just checking to see if there's any other questions. We have a couple of questions coming through which I can answer. So a lot of students are asking about semester 2 online studies. So we will have a link up on our landing page where you can click on our course guide. It will show all of our online, well, it's more so on-campus online study courses available for students who are interested in starting semester 2, and obviously that will go all the way through the following semesters. There are some subjects or some courses that unfortunately will not be available semester 2 due to the nature of the course, or we don't have a semester 2 intake for that particular course. So, but however, majority of our courses are available online for semester 2. So I hope that's answered some of the students' questions. It can be a bit confusing, but do feel free to contact our recruitment team. Um, if any of our current students have any questions about they're interested in study, but they just don't know what's available, we will help you through that. I don't see any more questions coming in, so I might wrap it up there. But before I do, I just want to let the audience know that the next session is actually happening in about 15 minutes or so, and that's going to be discussions around life in Tasmania. So I'm going to be speaking to 3 of our other wonderful international students who've kindly taken the time to join in for that session. So you will need to use the same link that you have used to join this session. So hold on to the next session. It will be in 15 minutes or so. But I really want to say thank you to Jane for taking her time today and discussing about transition to online study, which I think is a really important topic during this time. So thank you so much, Jane.
Thanks, Mona, and yeah, just lovely to share with everyone. And if you choose to come, we'd be so excited to have you, and would really look forward to welcoming you to our island down the track. So the life in Tasmania sounds like a great segue, Mona. Thanks so
Thank you
much
so
for
much,
letting me
Jane.
share with
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.
Bye.
No worries. See you in 15 minutes, everyone.